Hello DIYers, and thank you for joining me today for our gnome shelf sitter, our Santa gnome shelf sitter. My name is Maria Hall and I'm the owner of Deck the Halls DIY Studio. We have two locations. One location is in Stanley, Wisconsin, and the other is in New Richmond, Wisconsin. And we have in-person workshops, and we also do take and create kits. So chances are, if you're viewing this, you are prepared and excited to create your gnome Santa shelf sitter today. So the kit will include the base pieces to create your stand that the gnome will stand in. It will come with this piece, which is the lights that will go on his hat today. You'll have the words Merry Christmas. You will have the plates that are his hands right here, and then the words will go on. You will have the large gnome. You will have his nose. You will also have the variety of paint that I'll be using today. You will have small and big sponges, and you'll have a small detail brush, and you will also have glue included in your kit. So let's get started. First things first, we're gonna start by painting your big plate. I will take his nose off. So you'll start by painting your big plate. Now, for these pieces, you just need to paint. So grab one of your sponges, get a little bit of paint on there, not too much, and then you'll just start painting. So repeat this process until you have painted his hat, the pom-pom, his beard. You'll paint it in its entirety. For the boots, paint them whatever color you like, and paint the bottom piece right here. I would paint that whatever color you are going to paint your base or the color of your boots, because it will tuck into this base, and we'll be making this in a moment. So you'll paint everything. These pieces that are gonna go over are going to cover up sections. So if you don't wanna paint this part perfectly, you don't have to, because these are going to, or this section will get covered up. So you'll just take your paint right now and paint in the spots that are visible. I am going to alternate colors on his socks. So for that, I'm going to use the small brush that's included. And I'm just gonna use that, and I'm just gonna put the paint in there, and I'm gonna follow the score lines. I'm gonna do all the red, and then I will come back and I will fill in the green. But you can paint however you'd like. One other piece of information, these have been cut on a laser, so they have a dark edge. You do not need to paint the edge of your gnome unless you want to, or the edge of any of these cutouts unless you really want to. So, step one, paint the base. Okay, so once you've painted your base, the bigger parts, I also went ahead and painted his nose. If you want, because there is black included, you could take white and black and kind of mix it together to make kind of a gray if you want to add a little bit more maybe dimension to his beard. And so that's what I'm doing right now, just kind of putting in some swooshes to look at it, to add a little bit more dimension. And then I will just put this over to make sure it looks the way I want it to look, and I kind of like the added of him. So our next step, while this continues to dry, take your base pieces, and you're gonna have a big one and then a big one with a slit, and then you're gonna have two smaller ones with the slit. Okay, for the base, you'll have a big piece and then a big piece with a slit, and then the two smaller ones, there's two of these with the slit in it. You're just gonna take your glue, put some glue on either side of that spot of the slit in the wood, line them up, put them together, do the same thing, repeat this process here. I put these two together and make sure they're in line with each other. And then you will take this small stack, add your glue, and make sure it is in line on the larger one. Apply pressure. We're gonna want this to sit before you paint. I also sometimes check with my gnome to make sure I aligned it correctly. So you'll want this to sit and dry. And then we will move on to painting, you can move on to paint your hands and the board. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about how we're going to paint these little pieces. Okay, so your next step, you've painted all of your large pieces. Now you're moving on to painting our words and the light bulb. So there are 2 pieces of tape. There's tape on the front and on the back. Peel off the tape so that you can read the words. And then on this one, I'm gonna peel off the tape so I can see the lights. And there's tape on the back that holds these in place so that we can paint right on this frame. So to paint this, the real trick is less is more. Okay, so very light coats of paint. I'm going to paint the light strings green. Okay, so very little paint, like the thickness of tissue paper. This has a little bit too much paint, so you'll dab some off. This would be a good amount of paint, okay? And you're just going to dab. Now, if you get too much paint, it's gonna go in between where these are cut, and then it won't come out clean and nice when we apply these to the hat. Remember, these are going across his hat. So think about what color you want your light strings, and then the light bulbs, we've included paint colors, but if you have other paint colors at home, any acrylic paint will do, or house paint, you could also use those to change up the color of your light bulbs. This right here is his smile. So I'm going to do that in black because it will stand out against his beard. And that will go right below his nose. So his nose is here, and then the little smile will go right there. So think about what color you're gonna do that. And then you'll see that mine is white. So I'm gonna do my Merry Christmas in black, but it would be fun for red, green, or red. Lots of different variations you could do there as well. So right now you'll just work on painting these with the dabbing method. Remember, not a lot of paint, less is more for these. And then leave them with their tape because we need the tape in order to apply the words. Okay, once you have painted your pieces and they're drying, you'll also want to make sure you paint your base. My base is dry, so I just painted it. Again, you don't need to do the edges unless you're doing a color and you want those edges painted, go for it. And I did not paint the bottom, okay? So I just painted the top part. And I'm gonna put that one aside. We're gonna get ready to piece together our gnome. So I'm gonna set this one aside. Here we are with our gnome. First, I'm gonna glue on his nose. So you'll just need a little bit of glue, put it on his nose, and it should fit right in where the score line was. I'm gonna skip his mouth right now. And I'm gonna talk to you about the Merry Christmas. So you're gonna take that tape that you pulled off the front and you're going to put it back on, okay? And rub it on so that it sticks. Now make sure your paint was dry before you did this. Then you're gonna peel off the paint on the back. You want your letters to stay in. Okay, so peel it slowly. All right. You're gonna use your glue. I'm gonna put my piece right here. You're gonna use your glue, and it's a fine tip. So just get glue on the letters. Go through each letter, get a little bit of glue on them. Don't get the glue on the pieces that should come out. If you're having issues with that, you could try to pop out those smaller pieces that are not needed, like in the R's and the A. So go through and put paint on all of your letters, and this square fits directly on top of the banner that the gnome is holding. So we're going to use the banner and the shape of this cutout to center and align our words. All right, so I'll take it, whoops, I'll flip it over, and that's not supposed to happen, so hold on, we'll put them back in, drop my tape. Okay, keep them in. Sorry about that. My tape, or my paint, or my glue is starting to dry. Okay, so you're gonna take your words, flip them over, apply glue to only the letters, and then you're going to take it, flip it over, and align it where you want it. Okay, so I want mine right here. I'm gonna apply pressure, and as I apply pressure, I'm going to pull my tape, and I'm actually just pulling towards the center right now. And I'm gonna pull my tape off. Now the glue you put on the letters, so when you pick up, your letters should stay down. And I'm just doing this very carefully because sometimes you get a little glue over the edge. So it looks like my Y kind of got stuck. So I'm gonna just help that one stay down. Okay, so I have those pieces. You can pull out the R's. I'm using an X-Acto knife, but a tweezers, if you don't have an X-Acto knife, would work well. Or pick out those letters, the inside of those letters before you do this part. How cute is that? Love this font too. So I would apply pressure again because you kind of just pulled it up a little bit. You can put glue on the back of his hand banner here and put glue down and have that start adhering. Now for this, it's a little different. There are not score lines for your light bulb, so you can pull it out from the back. Move this so that you can see. So we'll pull this one off, and some of the light bulbs came with. But this part you're gonna put together on his hat. Okay, so one line goes across the top, the tip top of his hat. The other light bulb line will go across his hat here. And you'll find where it fits, okay? Because there is gonna be a light that goes across there. So that will help you find where it fits. And then I'm gonna put his smile on, his little grin. Okay, and then you can figure out your pattern with your light bulbs. I would plan it out and then come back and glue it down. Okay, so plan it out and then come back and glue each piece down individually. All right, once you have glued all of your pieces on and you have your base, you are ready to display your gnome. He is pretty darn cute. Thanks for joining Deck the Halls DIY Studio today for your gnome shelf sitter. Please share your photos with us. Tag us on Facebook and Instagram, or send us your picture if you want to share. We'd love to see it. We look forward to DIYing with you again.